My relationship with Singapore started a couple of years ago when I was taking a company into Singapore. I got to really understand the culture, the business ecosystem. Really, it opened my eyes as to what Singapore as a country were doing and what we're trying to achieve. The idea for Gemstar actually came out of the challenges that our innovators and Australia's tech community were experiencing with how our ecosystem was then. And so I kind of put two and two together and thought, well, if we can't do it here in Australia and it's a difficult ecosystem for us to be able to flourish and harness and nurture these technologies, we need to do something about it. With Gemstar, it's not about taking Aussie companies away from Australia. It's about expanding and growing them and seeing the potential in countries such as Singapore as a gateway to Asia.
Singapore started off in 1965 and it's been a brilliant project. And that's got to represent how innovative Singapore and Singaporeans are.
A lot of what Singapore is an innovation-oriented place just because. It had to. There's no fresh water in Singapore. So a lot of changes were by necessity.
If you look at countries like Israel, Singapore, the US, they've had enormous success through creating global products that bring new revenue streams to their economies. Australia needs to be looking at those countries and understanding what they're doing.
We're trying to educate the Australian economy, Australian businesses, on really why they should be looking at Singapore right now in their business plans and as part of their growth.
Australia is quite inventive, but not terribly good at commercialising some of those inventions. So that's the problem, and of course that's the opportunity.
So basically we kind of joined all the dots together, and so our mission is really to help commercialise technologies with the region and globe in mind.
Singapore as a country ranks in the top 5 or even the top 3 as far as its connections, the university connections with industry, for working closely with researchers to commercialize research. The Agency of Science, Technology and Research, A*STAR in Singapore, is probably the hallmark for everything that's commercialization related.
A*STAR, one of the missions is really to help the economy transfer technology from the research labs to industry. So at the beginning is the challenge. How do you sell your idea so that you can find the innovation to solve the problem?
Singapore has invested billions in creating a setting where people are educated around innovation, they're educated around taking ideas and commercialising them.
Innovation is not the same as invention. Gemstar is helping these delegates in particular, I think, by focusing on the commercialisation aspect.
Gemstar is not about tours or trade missions on their own, but we do realise the importance of taking Australian companies firsthand into Singapore. It's not really until you go there, you meet people, you understand the ecosystem and see it firsthand, that Australian entrepreneurs and techpreneurs will really get a sense of the opportunities that exist there for their own technology innovations.
It's a hub for startups and technology and innovation, and it's doing all the right things to try and help ideas and innovation flourish.
I've never found government more accessible and give you every chance that you can.
It's one of the easiest places in the world to set up a business, and there's no restrictions on foreigners.
There is so much opportunity here and it's there for the taking.
They embrace innovation. I mean, it's a little bit like a mini Silicon Valley here.
Entrepreneurialism is a current that runs through the social fabric of Singapore. And if you look at it as a nation, it doesn't have any natural resources. Its resources are its people.
The culture of the entire populace is that if we work together and collaboratively behind a common goal, we can achieve anything. You see it in every walk of their life.
We can work with people within the region. We can create value for everyone in order to improve their lives, in order to improve wealth, in order to make sure that we are just creating a better world overall.
What drives me is that fire in the belly and wanting to be a really good role model for my girls. And we won't have such a bright future unless we're able to create an ecosystem environment which is around collaboration.
As I say in Silicon Valley, if you want to become a millionaire, you need to solve $1 billion problem. Solving $1 billion problem doesn't come without collaborating.
Every study, when you think about innovation and collaboration, always shows that people working together will achieve more than one or two individuals on their own.
I think we've got a lot of talent. For me, the question is the infrastructure and the ecosystem. And does that infrastructure and ecosystem support the talent that we have? I'm wanting my delegates to go home with business opportunities here in the region, which all of them are doing that. I want them to go home feeling inspired by the energy and the ecosystem here so that they can take new ideas back into their businesses. I'm really happy to say I believe every one of our delegates has gotten something from this.
Singapore has excelled at not just technical innovation, but innovation of thinking, the way that it approaches everything.
I had no idea the level of investment that there is.
It's not just startup ecosystem, it's an innovation ecosystem.
Ultimately, it's the energy that's right here in Singapore, in the startup community, and we're going to take it back to Australia, and we're ready to innovate.
The opportunities are real, and they're waiting